Now, Positively Ernie with Ernie Anastas, a New York TV legend and radio host with great positive stories and interviews.
Thanks, Ernie. You're the best.
And now, here's Ernie.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show, Positively Ernie. I'm so happy because I've got another terrific guest. One of my dear friends. I mean, all you got to do is just take a look at her face. Everybody, take a look at Carol Alt, an amazing human being, a supermodel, an actress, a great humanitarian. You do so many things. And Carol, I've known you a long time. You look great. Hold my hands. So nice to have you here.
You know, we were just talking that it was a year ago that I was shooting a movie in the Dolomites, and we were doing an interview at 12 o'clock at night for your show. Positively.
I know. And here you are. You're back.
Here I am.
You know, you've done so many things. You talk about, acting. I don't know where to start with you. Billy Crystal has probably the best line. You look marvelous.
Thank you.
And you do,
and
Carol.
So do you,
well,
actually.
Thank you very much. No, but really, it's so important what you do. You have an image that people have of you. I mean, you started at like 18 years old, right? On the cover of Harper's Bazaar. And I mean, and you've gone on 500 major magazines and publications and so on and so on.
My father lost track in 1983 at 500 magazine covers. Yeah, so well, I don't know after that how many.
You know what? You're an institution. You're a legacy. You're an amazing human being. And I love having you here.
I've had a nice career. I'm really
and still have
so grateful to the big guy upstairs. Because there were times when in this business, Ernie, it's ebb and flow. It goes, it comes, it goes, it comes. So you have to always keep going, creating, and I was very fortunate enough to be a bit of a chameleon, so that's helped with longevity.
But you've really made it happen for yourself because no matter what, and I do so many different interviews, a person has to have the self-drive and the determination and the passion and the commitment to be able to follow your dream. And you have followed your dream from the time you were very young.
Well, it wasn't my dream when I was young. I was in law school, in Army. I'd signed up for the Army and Army ROTC. And this was going to be a summer job. So, but I think the thing is I just loved this so much. I love people. I love being around people. I love being in the studio.
Yeah, you do.
I enjoy it's very cerebral, especially acting. Modeling, not so much, but acting is very cerebral. You have to have technique and you have to work your script. And I love doing that. And I love understanding the human condition. And I love telling stories. As you know, I interview myself practically half the time.
I know you do. I know.
So, for me, it was the perfect fit. And I remember when my father first, saw my first paycheck and he went, "Oh my God, this is more than a rookie fireman makes in a year. Can you take your sister? She's so much prettier than you. If you're doing this good, can you imagine what she could do?"
Oh man.
And he said, "Carol, at 25, this is over. So you might as well, you can wear only one pair of shoes at a time, sleep in one bed at a time, have one house at a time. So don't spend your money at 25. It's over." And I thought, I'll be damned if at 25 this is over. I got to do something.
You're not going to give up. No, I know.
I got to do something to keep it going.
But your dad was an inspiration in many ways.
Yes.
And he was a great firefighter here in New York. And your mom was also a model and worked for the airlines, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that relationship and how she influenced you.
Well, my mom always influences me with reverse psychology. The minute she says you can't do it is when I thrive. And she knows it. And so do I. But it works in any case. No, my mom is an amazing, amazing person. She's 91. She works at the library still. She still gives me a hard time. She's just an amazing person. Unfortunately, I lost my father when he was 52 or 53.
Yeah, he was young.
Well, firemen.
Yeah.
And that
tough
time
job.
they were breathing in all that garbage, whatever was burning, they were breathing it in.
I know.
So we lost him very young. But, my mom is still kicking and still giving me a hard time.
Yeah, it's good because, she knows which button to push.
She does, and she pushes them.
Listen, you're doing so many different things. And we talked about how you started at 18, and it wasn't really, like you said, your dream. It just kind of happened. But look at the career that you've had. How do you look at life today in terms of this industry, the modeling industry? Let's stick with that instead of acting for now. That's a very competitive business right now, isn't it? And how has it changed with social media?
Well, it's a completely different business. I mean, back in the day, you needed to be a certain height, a certain weight. You had to have a certain look. If somebody saw you, somebody liked you, you had to, go and see all the magazines, and if somebody took a liking to you, it was a very, it was the eye of the needle.
Oh, yeah.
It was very small, those camels that could fit through that eye of the needle. And now it's just anybody who has a major following on social media.
Right.
They won't see a girl unless she's got 50,000 or more followers on social media.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
thank God I did it when I did it, because I still haven't
I
figured out
understand
social
that.
media.
No,
at all.
it's, you know what? You talk about your industry and parlaying it into mine. There was a time in broadcasting where you had to start at a very low market. Like market 74.
Right.
And you had to work your way up until you
Right.
got into the top 20,
Somebody
top
saw
15,
you,
top
moved
10,
you,
until
hired
you came
you.
to New York.
Right.
And now you can be working, and I'm not putting it down, you can be working at a local station somewhere in the area. Next thing you know, you're on a major
you
flagship
get
station.
you get a hook. So
I know.
something happens on your social media, you get a big boom, something goes viral, and the next thing you know, you've got a career.
So tell me about that. How do you feel about it? Is that a good thing? Is that not so good? What does it do to motivation and people looking to be successful at what they do?
Well, I think it's a different kind of motivation to be successful. I think these young kids, that this is how they know how to do it. For me, it's terrifying because I've never really figured out the whole social media stuff. Carol Alt, by the way. I'm model Carol Alt on Instagram and Twitter.
I like it.
I just still haven't figured it out at all.
I know.
But this is how they know how to do it. So, I remember back in the day, I think it was the Merv Griffin show.
Okay.
And they brought on 3 models of now, which was me and 2 other girls. And then they brought on 3 models of, back in the day in the 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were very bitter at us. We have to carry this, we had to do that, we do our own makeup, you guys have makeup artists. And I sat there listening to these girls going, when did I become the object of their wrath? That I came in and suddenly I'm able to have my little career going. And I just thought, I hope I never get to the point in my career where I'm looking back and I'm going like, look at these girls, they're doing that. God bless them.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do to have a career,
Right.
make your money, because it comes and it goes, like we talked. It ebbs and it flows.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So God bless them.
Take
if they
advantage
can
of it
do
when it
that.
happens.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely.
1982, you were on the cover of Illustrated.
Yes,
Sports Illustrated. I mean, that was a great cover for you, and you were a young lady. I mean, you looked fabulous. And fast forward, we talk about change. Martha Stewart
Yes.
was on the cover. The oldest person, 81 years old, to be on the cover.
Yes.
Look how things have changed in a good way in many ways, right?
Well, there's a lot more diversity,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think that's very important because we're not all blonde hair, blue-eyed,
Yeah.
white Caucasian people. We are a very, very diverse nation. We've always been a diverse nation, but now we're recognizing that, and I think that's great. And the older I get, God bless Martha Stewart, man.
I know,
the
it's
older I
great.
get, I want older people
Yeah,
to be. Hey,
yeah.
Sports Illustrated, I'm waiting
know.
for the call. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yes.
Look-
I think it's fantastic.
And look how the positive changes that we're talking about for a lot of women in all walks of life. I don't care what field it is, but all the progress that's been made.
Yes.
You must be happy about that, to see that kind of, development.
I'm going to tell you a very
Yeah.
strange thing.
Yeah.
When I got divorced, my husband had access to all my bank accounts, even though we were separated and divorced.
Okay.
And I remember calling my financial guy and saying, hey, what's happening here? And he's like, oh, well, your husband. I said, I've been separated for a year. Oh, well, no, but he's still your husband. And I was like, this is so odd. The women had really no rights, and that
That's
was
true,
that
yeah.
was rights compared to the women before me.
Yeah.
I had a coach on one of my movies whose husband got everything because she ceased to exist as a person once she married him, and when they got divorced, he got everything.
Amazing how it
Yes.
was. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
so
It's so different.
What has, and then of course 9/11 happened, and so much stuff changed.
sure.
But I feel I have a lot more, in a sense, protection of my own stuff and privacy. Maybe it's a false sense of that because the government watches everything. We know
Of course
that,
they
but
do.
okay.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But at least I know that if I get married, this is mine, that's his.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, relationships. Are you dating now?
No, I'm a very happy single. You see how happy you're breathing?
Come on.
Single. I'm focused on me a little
Would
bit.
you like to get married again?
No.
Why not?
No, I never.
Why not?
It never. No, and Ernie, it just never struck me as a thing to do.
You want to be with someone? You want to be in a relationship?
I don't even know about
Not
that.
even
I
that.
got 2 black cats. They keep me perfectly happy and laughing every freaking day.
Well,
and I
let
know
me-
what's mine is mine.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. I mean, like a person like yourself, all right? Here you are, you're a supermodel, superstar, and everybody knows who you are. When you're dating somebody, okay, is there like a, how do I say it, like a criteria for who it is? Because a lot of guys, a lot of people would feel a little uncomfortable with someone who was so intimidated, was so successful. Do you find that that's a problem? Is that a factor at all?
I've dated all kinds of different kinds of people in my life, and even when I was, top of my career, I always went with my heart. I always did. But I understand the other sex looking on going, okay, I'm 5'11", so I'm formidable the minute I walk in the room.
Yeah.
I like to wear heels.
Okay.
I'm very opinionated. I've run my own business for 43 years. So, yeah, I'm sure that it is intimidating. But for me, what turns me on is, besides a sense of humor, Ernie, which is super duper
so important.
Super.
I agree with you. So important. It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also has a bit to do with a confidence and a passion.
Yes.
When people are involved in something, whatever they're involved in, the thing that I loved about, Ronnie Greshner and Ayrton and Alexei Yashin, what was so amazing for me were, not that they were sportsmen, but whatever it is that they were doing, they were super passionate about.
Yeah, so
and
important.
That passion is so sexy. It's such a...
No, it's very true.
Really
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that when you really think about relationships, people will probably say that. They'll say, I want to be with somebody who makes me feel good, who brings out the best in me. And that's a very simple thing to do if that personality is compatible with yours in terms of appreciating and having respect for one another. Humor is so important. I got to tell for men and for women.
Yes.
Very important. Some of it makes you feel good, makes you smile.
But here's the thing about what you just said.
Yeah.
Nobody can bring out something in you that's not there.
Right.
And if you're not willing to let it out yourself, my father always said to me, he said, Carol, you're not half of one. You're one of two. Find someone who can let you be you. He was the first feminist I knew, really. He was like, you need to have someone who lets you do your thing.
Good man.
And, one of the things that broke up my marriage was that, Ron retired. He wanted to, he didn't want me doing movies. And I'm 29 years old, and I'm just starting to kick it. And I'm like, I'm not ready to retire. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it was a real, bone of contention between us, because he was ready to move to Florida and be a snowbird. And I'm like, I'm going to Italy.
You want to just keep going.
Shooting Anna Karenina,
and you're still doing, you're doing a lot of acting.
Yes.
And now talk a little bit about that, because that's another kind of world as well. You've got a lot of personalities, a lot of strong personalities. It's competitive in many ways. How do you deal with that circle?
You remember I did Celebrity Apprentice, correct?
Yes, of course.
Okay. One of the things I learned very well on Celebrity Apprentice that I realized a gift that I have is I like to bring out the best in other people. I don't care if they're a woman in competition with me. If there's something they do well, I will tell them so that they can rise to the occasion.
The truth.
The truth.
Yeah.
And I do that with everybody.
Good.
It just is, it's a compulsion. And I did it on Celebrity Apprentice. With the girls. I had an amazing group of girls. We hadn't won one competition. And I came in as the PM and I said, you know what, you do this great, you do that great, you do this. Would you like to do that? Is this something? And I listened and I talked and I brought it out. And it's the same with acting. The most collaborative actor I ever worked with, this is going to blow your wig off, okay? Who is it? Howard Stern.
Oh yeah, what a character! I've interviewed him, and he's great. I know.
But when he got into a scene, and Betty Thomas was saying, and we did it 2 or 3 times, and I just looked over at him. I said, Howard, do you remember when you told me blah 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 blah? And he goes, oh yeah.
If
I did that so with another actor, sometimes they get offended.
No. I can understand. Where he would just say, thank you.
Boom, he nailed it.
Thank you.
He nailed it.
Yeah, because he's a pro. He's a professional who understands.
He doesn't care how he gets there as long as the result is a perfection.
Of course.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't feel that way. So you bring the best out in them by allowing them to find it in themselves.
You know what, Carol? That's the best kind of relationship to have with people. To be so open, to be able to respect one another and say, okay, that's a better idea, that'll work. Because you're looking for the same goal. You want the same thing. You want
Yeah.
it to be the best you can make it.
See, I'm a director's actor. I come prepared
Yeah.
with my scene on the emotional level and all the technical stuff, but I'm also able to pivot. If my director says, I like that, but did you ever think about this? Like I'm working with a director, Robert Gillings, on Paper Empire.
Yeah.
And, Kelsey Grammer and I were on the set.
Great actor.
A wonderful
Absolutely.
actor and a generous actor and a generous person too. I mean, he walked in and said a couple things to me, and it was like boom, the ice was broken, and we just went for it. But at one point, the director said to me, "Can you lean forward?" And it changed the whole scene. And I was like, oh, he just had one little thing to say to me. And it changed the whole scene.
Yeah.
And I went into
And you
him after-
listened.
Yeah,
you
to him
listened,
after.
of course.
I said, thank you so much for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I loved that because it is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
We were in the back of a limo. There were like 10 people stuck in a limo. If you don't collaborate and talk and move around and within that little, it's really what we should be doing in society.
Totally.
This is what we've lost today after
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
Everybody was so sequestered, and now we've lost that ability to work within the sphere of this society. Everybody's out for themselves, running each other on the street. I'm first, I'm the.
I've talked about that so many times. It's terrible. We have to change that.
We have to be
Yeah,
able
we need
to,
some leadership here. We need some
work-
direction.
Yes,
We
we
really
do.
do. We need some direction.
Yes,
we need
we
some
do.
people who are going to stand out
I
there
need
and
to
say,
pull off my fake eyelashes and put my sweatpants
go
on.
for it.
Go for it, right?
I know. I agree with you. It's so important to listen to other people, especially
is.
in our industry. I remember talking to a guy who was what do you call him? Like a coach.
Yes.
And he was working with us. This is several years ago. And I was sitting down with this coach, and he said to me, he said, Ernie, what you do as an anchor on television, he said, you get to a point where you just do it automatically.
Yes.
You don't even have to think. You know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
And
That's
he said,
modeling for me.
Yeah. And you become, you get this, unconscious competent. You're
Yes.
able to do it without even
thinking about it.
You drive your car, you don't get into an accident for years.
You can hit your mouth without missing and hitting your nose. Yes.
So you know what he said to me? I'll never forget this, and I listened to him. He said, the secret to your business and to life in general is to become conscious competent. He said, to be aware of what you're doing. When you're tossing to a reporter, instead of the standard throw, look to see what's in the background, see what's going on, find a question that works, and every day you shake it up a little bit. And that's so important.
That's really nice.
This is called growing, man. This is
Yes.
developing yourself. And
Yes.
that's what you and I really share a lot
Yes,
of.
we
Because
do.
we're both still happy to be doing what we're doing, but we're looking for new opportunities. Tell me about some of the things that you're doing now. I know you're doing some acting, and you're talk about that a little bit.
So
Yeah.
I'm working on a series called Paper Empire.
Yeah.
It's the first crypto series. It's Kelsey Grammer, Denise Richards, Robert Davi, Robert Gillings.
What a cast.
Wesley Snipes is in it. Ann Archer's in it. Cuba
Ooh,
Gooding's
when
in
are we going
it.
to see this?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
You'll let us know?
I will absolutely
Yeah,
let
yeah,
you. Ernie, when have I never not let you know something? I've
No,
got you on speed dial.
I know. No, but
especially this morning, anyway.
Isn't she amazing? It's amazing talking to you. We can just keep going. You know what? I want people to know that you're also a good humanitarian. You do a lot of charity work, scholarship funds, and all kinds of different things. You've done things with the fire department. Tell me about why you do this and how you do it.
Well, truthfully, Ernie, I lend my name and and my appearance to a lot of things to help. I'm doing something in Cabo as well for the same thing for scholarships. But personally, I actually donate and raise money for animal charities. That's really
that's big.
Because I raised money for my brothers when I did the Celebrity Apprentice. My brother had just passed away, and they were doing a memorial charity event every year, and I raised $25,000 that was donated to St. Jude's.
Nice.
So I feel like like spread the wealth a little bit. So, but my personal thing is taking care of things that can't speak or take care of themselves, children and animals. It's just so important.
You know what, Carol? Those three things in my career I've always felt really special about: children, animals, and seniors, older people, because they're helpless in many ways. They need our help. They need our
it's
support.
a full circle, isn't it?
No,
Sometimes,
you know what really
to
tugs at my heart, and you've seen them, ASPCA and some of the other commercials on television, and you see these little animals, you see those little eyes,
I know,
and they're freezing and they're
scared
cold.
to death. They're scared to death.
Yeah.
I mean, my two animals are rescues, and one wouldn't come out from under the bed. It took 6 months, and she's the love of my life. I mean, how that resilient they are is amazing. But I work with the Denise's Washington Heights Cat Sanctuary, and Denise is it's just her herself, and she's got 50 cats, 10 dogs, and she finds them homes, and then there's another 50 cats that come in. Yeah. So that's a lot of little mouths to feed.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot of veterinary bills. When I was on the movie last year, when you called me, and we did that interview at 12 midnight. Yeah, right. The phone call right after yours was she needed help because she had 2 cats that had been fixed, and they were in the hospital. The vet had done, I don't know what happened, and they ended up in the hospital, and she needed money, and But that's why I work. I don't have children. Yeah. That's why. That's how I give back.
Well, that's good.
To society.
I applaud you for that. That's very important. I just think
it's really important.
Yeah.
And in other cases, I just I lend my name and my time and my energy. Yeah. But that is a monthly.
Well, congratulations on all the good work you do. You're helping all these animals out. Let me ask you a couple of other questions. Okay.
Sure.
Now you're such an active person, on the go all the time, and always looking for new ideas and new things to do, which I love. I think that's what keeps you very alive and full of...
Like you, Ernie.
Yeah, we share that, Carol. We really do.
Yes,
we do,
absolutely.
But what would you like to do? Maybe there are a couple of things that you say, I really would like to do this. I don't know, it could be a trip someplace that you want to go to. It could be another role of some sort. It could be something personal. What is it that you say, I'd like to be able to do this now, and I'm working at it, or I'd like to be able to work at it? What is there out there for Carol Alt?
Ernie, I've done practically everything and more than I've ever, dreamt about doing. I've done 65 films. I've written 7 books. I started the posters and calendar craze with the models nowadays, and exercise videos. And for me, it's like in each of these things, you like to go up to the next level.
Yeah.
Or maybe just do something that you did before, but you're doing it now at 63.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated, are you listening? I would like to do a really, an Oscar-winning movie. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not Oscar nominated, I would like to be in an Oscar-level movie.
Okay. Well, you're in the arena. I mean, you're out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just stuff like that. I worked in theater with Bob Fosse, so maybe actually making it to Broadway. I don't know. There's just
But
when you open yourself up to the universe, things pop up, and you go like, "Oh, that's an interesting idea. Maybe I'll try that."
Maybe I'll try that. Talk about this a little bit, okay? Because you and I have talked a little bit about age, and we're both, over 40.
I don't remember 40.
But here we are.
You might remember 40. I think you're younger than I am.
No. But here we are, okay, at a certain stage of life, right? And you stop and you say, "What do I feel about aging?" Being honest, I mean, I can tell you honestly how I feel. To me, when they say it's just a number, I agree. Deepak Chopra once said to me in an interview, he said, "We have a biostat and we have a thermostat, like on a wall. You can turn it back. You can pick an age that you want and you can be there." Honest to God, Carol,
you haven't been
I'm
able to
17.
Master that.
No, I'm 17. I'm 17 because I loved it when I was a kid. I was working in radio. I was going to college and so on, and it was a great age for me. And I still feel like a teenager. How old do you feel in terms of your mind? And talk about aging, what you're kind of thinking about when the time comes when we really get old.
Ernie, I think talking about aging is an entire show in itself.
Oh, it is.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I talk about my girlfriends, they say, things happen that your mom never tells you about. You know what I mean? That physically starts to happen. Now, I'm a raw foodie. I'm big on supplements and detox and all this stuff. And I see what's happening with me aging, and I wonder, how bad it is for others who are eating, drinking, smoking, and, living their lives.
Yeah.
But in reality, my brain is like a 30-year-old. Truthfully, that was the best time of my life.
That's a good time. Yeah, 30 is nice.
I was accomplished. I was doing movies. I had 4 films a year. I was madly in love. It was
30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd fallen in love and with somebody, and it was a magical time.
But that's stimulating to think about that, isn't it? Doesn't it make you feel good that you have that good I
have a zillion good memories.
Yeah.
I I don't need to go back to 30 to get
No,
them. I
you
still
don't.
have great things happening.
Right.
See, I think that's what ages us.
Yeah.
I think we start going like, people start going like, oh, you look good for your age. Like,
No.
That's so limiting.
No.
Like, you just look good. Why can't you just look good?
Right.
Hey, you look great. Like,
Right.
Done. Not you look great for your age.
Somebody sent me a birthday card once. And on it said, when someone asks you how old you are, great answer. It says, I'm old enough to have life figured out and young enough to live it.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Isn't that classic?
Yes,
Isn't
that's
that classic?
terrific.
We've learned a lot, and yet we still are young enough to be able to live it and be enthusiastic about it. I think that's the key.
So I had, this is a really funny story.
Yeah.
I had a headhunter call me out of the blue.
Okay.
Because it was some billionaire guy who had seen me on a show and was interested.
Okay.
I couldn't do enough to get him disinterested. You know, I
Okay.
literally, I just did not want to.
Yeah.
And then when he realized that was not going to work, he called me up and he said, so how old are you? I said, well, I just turned 60. He goes, well, say you're 58. That sounds better.
Oh,
I'm like, listen,
come on.
first of all, I don't need a headhunter to find me any guys,
Right,
okay?
right.
Second of all, I'm a very happy single at the moment. So,
Yeah.
thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
But how demeaning.
Yeah.
If some guy,
listen,
wants a 58-year-old,
please,
go find
all
a
kinds
58-year-old.
of people, Carol,
I'm
in this
60
world.
and proud of it because,
No.
it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody. That's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
going to happen to everybody. Even these snarky little 20-year-olds
No question
are one
about it.
day going to
Yeah.
be like 63 going, hey, I remember this girl doing that
But
interview.
but you have to be ready for it, okay? You have to
no,
be prepare
you have
your
to
mind.
Accept it.
Yes.
I don't think you're ever ready for it, but I think you have
Well,
to accept
that's
it
what I
because
meant.
things start to unfold that
Right.
you don't accept, that you don't expect, and you have to go like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But
And
I-
one day, maybe I'll even be wanting, go and get a tuck. I don't know.
Whatever.
They've
No, but-
been asking me that since I'm 20. What do you think about plastic surgery? Like, whatever makes you happy.
Right.
I have girlfriends at 34 had plastic surgery.
Oh yeah, listen, you got kids. You've got young kids that are 12 years old, and their moms are divorced, and they're doing some things to their face, and they want their daughters to look like them, so they end up having their kids do the same thing. Crazy stuff going on in the world.
Well,
it really
I remember
is.
in high school, a girlfriend of mine wanted to get her nose done, and they wouldn't let her get it done. She was 18 because you don't stop growing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Sometimes I get a little concerned about how obsessed we are as a society about the whole, youthful look and so forth.
Listen, half the
it
youth
kind of bothers me.
Half the young people don't even look youthful. The second you
know.
start getting plastic surgery
Yeah.
is the moment you say, I'm either getting older or I don't like how I look. And the three things I told you before
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that I like in a person is confidence,
Yes.
passionate about what they do,
Yes,
and
exactly.
a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's important. And you know what? If you have the spirit, okay, I don't care what age you're at, you can see the sparkle in a
Yes.
person's eyes. They have
Passion.
a spirit. It's inside. That's what we're encased in this body. And you have that spirit and that attitude, and it's alive.
Yeah.
And I listen to people, I've interviewed people, but I've watched them on television. They're 100 years old plus.
And they're like,
you know what else?
I need to go skydiving.
Yes, exactly. And they're interested. They're interested in life. They still want to be part of life.
Yeah.
If I repeat myself, centenarians, people who live to 100, I interviewed several of them and I did surveys on them. Good sense of humor. They laugh at life. They laugh at themselves. They're very optimistic about things. They've got a good positive attitude. They have activity in their life. They believe in someone else. They have a good relationship. They believe in a higher being. And most important, they're always curious.
Yes,
they want
that's a
to
good
learn something new. They're interested in finding out what else is out there. They haven't done everything. Isn't that so important?
Yes.
My goodness, it
Yeah.
is.
I have a friend who stays with me when he comes to New York, and he said to me this week, he said, I'd like to do a reality behind the reality show on you because you've got so many crazy friends. And I said, well, because technically I think I'm rather a boring person. I consider myself an average boring person, but I surround myself with a great many friends who are crazy or funny or creative or just absolutely out of their minds.
Yeah.
And they make me laugh and they make me think. And I think that's really important too. I think
good.
what happens to older people, and I'm seeing this with some of my friends who are older, you know, you start losing friends and you start losing family.
Yep.
And, you know, for some reason you keep going, you're 100, 101, 102.
Sure.
And there's nobody around who's a peer anymore. And I have a girlfriend who says, you know, Carol, I always keep younger people around me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always have friends who are younger. And that way you always have friends.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, and especially being involved in the news business and in this television business, you're always around a lot of young people. And what are they talking about? They're going out on dates.
Yep.
They just got married. They're getting engaged. They just had a baby.
Well, I'm trying to get some, you know, OnlyFans and YouTube and Instagram hints from these
All right, listen.
amazing geniuses.
Kind of like closing thoughts.
Okay.
Talk about positivity and why it's so important today, why we need to feel good. Why?
Because everybody else is dragging you down. It's really important to feel good yourself. We talked before about it's hard to bring something out in a person if it's not already there. And, you know, positivity is one of those things that you have to find it wherever you are because it's not just there all the time.
Right.
It's a very hard world now. We all acknowledge that. It's a different world after COVID for some crazy, strange reason, and no one can give you any reason why. And people are much more scared and much more nervous. And if you don't find the positivity, it's going to be a very long, boring, dull life.
Yeah.
And by the way, nobody's going to want to be around you, so you won't have any young friends. You'll be 102 sitting
That's
by
right.
yourself.
Say, where's everybody? The amazing Carol Auld.
The
Hold my
amazing
hands.
Ernie
I love this person. She's got such a great spirit and attitude. So wonderful. Congratulations on all you do. You know, you're still modeling, you're acting, you're a humanitarian, you do such great things. The wonderful Carol Auld. I loved having you as my guest today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Thank
Okay? See you next time. Thanks for watching.